for really stepping up during this challenging time. I think your age group is sacrificing the most, not having the sort of normal interactions that you would have at work and social wise. And at the same time, we as the more adults in this effort want to see you have every opportunity available to you, which I think brings us to this conversation around internship and mentorship. Let me just say, this has been an incredible STEM week already, and it's only Tuesday. Yesterday, we kicked off at MIT, and President Reif said, you know, seeing himself in STEM was something really important in his journey toward his ultimate career start. And he said, but along the way, people just needed to step up and help. And I think through internships, there's a real opportunity for students to be able to engage in meaningful workplace experiences and employers to really learn from the next generation of talent how to make their workplace more diverse and stronger in terms of the abilities and skills that they can bring to their operations. So just thank you for sharing a little bit. Let me just start by saying my day started today with third graders, okay, school out in Hadley. And these third graders, now think about yourself when you were third graders. There was a lot of energy in this room around 8 o'clock this morning. And I gave the teacher big, applause for organizing a STEM event with their enthusiasm. The way this teacher pivoted to remote learning was really incredible. So that's an example of innovations in a pandemic, trying to teach third graders how to problem solve around a pretty basic challenge. But the whole point of the conversation that I got to see, just like in this forum, was the excitement, the enthusiasm, the creativity, the ideas, their imagination. And at the same time, they were developing thinking skills and collaborating and sharing and not afraid to do so. And I think about where you're all at now, having gone through this journey in your education career, where you're thinking about your future. And you have opportunities in these internships to meet incredible people that can encourage you and support you and, help you think through your self-doubts or even a belief that you might harbor internally that you might not be able to take on a job or do something different that you really want to do. And so I just feel the value in these internships is so incredible. I'm grateful to all the industry partners that have made this a priority in their organizations. And I would say the one thing that I witnessed through the Vertex interns over the past couple of months that I've got to talk to them is even though there's a real value in getting into the workplaces physically and being able to develop relationships and interact and maybe have an experiential learning opportunity, I also think virtually there's great value as well because of time and troubles with transportation and all of those kinds of barriers. Those have gone away. So while in-person internships are terrific, I think virtual internships are also terrific because all internships can make a difference for your future and helping you see yourself in a career or a job or a workplace where you can take your talent and your energy and all that enthusiasm over your years and really put it into action to make a difference. And if there's any time I feel that all of us are motivated to make a difference, it's clearly in a time when we're all trying to get through this pandemic and make good choices and take advantage of every opportunity that we can find to make the world a safer, healthier, and better place. And every single one of you on this call has an opportunity on that journey to make that difference. So I just thank you. And I really look forward to hearing from you what's working so that we in the state government and other places can learn from you how to do more of this.
Great, thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Oh, go ahead.
I think Secretary Piser's on the call.
Oh no, we'll hand it off to Secretary Piser. But first, I want to welcome those who've joined us. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Also, a viewing tip. If you haven't already, I think most have, go up to the top right-hand corner where it says view and click on the speaker view. And I think most people have done that, but I want to make sure that those who've just come in know that the speaker view will enhance the quality of the video, as Lieutenant Governor Polito just did. So thank you. Secretary Pizer, champion of all this, please say a few words and then we'll move along.
Well, thank you, Neil, and thanks for having people click on the speaker view so I can take up the entire screen with my giant head. But thank you, thanks to the whole PIC team for the extraordinary work that you did over the past summer to sustain these paid internships through your work, ongoing work around connecting activities in the Tech Apprentice Program and Mass STEM at Work. This could easily have been a lost summer, and unfortunately, in some places and for some students, it was. But thanks to the PIC's problem solving and creativity, you were able to provide young people with meaningful work-based learning experiences despite the pandemic. The theme of STEM Week, which we're now on day 2 of, is See Yourself in STEM. And a big part of what that means is ensuring that youth, especially those who are underrepresented in STEM fields, both in college and in the workplace, are able to see a viable and exciting path forward in occupations. That means providing students with engaging learning experiences that allow them to apply their STEM knowledge in a real work environment and in real world applications. It also means introducing them to professionals in the field who have already successfully made the journey into STEM careers themselves. But equally important, it means giving students an opportunity to do that real STEM work in a real STEM and a real work environment. And that's what these STEM internships are all about. And the PIC has been a continuous leader in building partnerships with employers and providing robust paid learning experiences for young people who so richly deserve them. And of course, thanks to the employers who stepped up to provide these unique virtual work and learning experiences this summer. And you know, their creativity, their persistence, their good faith in trying to make it all work. And obviously, congratulations to the interns themselves for the great work that you all have done, which I'm so excited to learn more about. So great to be here, having me, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Great, thank you, Secretary Pizer. I think everyone may know that Secretary Pizer has been an advocate for internships and work-based learning for a long time as part of building career pathways within our high schools, through high school and beyond. But going into this summer, he was an advanced voice on the need for virtual internships. He was researching these formats all around the country and encouraging folks at Northeastern University and others to create digital platforms for virtual internships. And I'm happy to say that many of our employers are talking about providing these kinds of opportunities during the school year once we get our bearings with the remote or hybrid experience. So what we learned in the summer, as Lieutenant Governor Polito mentioned, is something that we can apply not just to the immediate future, but it will be part of education and career for the foreseeable future. So with that, I want to get to our panel. And to moderate our panel, I want to introduce Naeemah Elias. Naeemah is a force of nature, frankly, at State Street Corporation. She is a managing director who focuses on mobility within the corporation, and to move up within a large corporation like State Street, that involves training. Who better qualified than Naeemah, who before joining State Street 10 years ago, had an award-winning career as a professional actress. So she brings those skills to the corporate setting, and she has shared that enthusiasm as well as her training skill set with PIC interns for many years now. She's a Harvard grad with a bachelor's in psychology, that helps too, with a focus on child development and education. Naeemah, take us from here and please introduce our students and get us rolling with our student panel.
Absolutely. Thank you, Neil. And thank you all for having me. I have been just a huge fan of the PIC program for the full decade now that I have been at State Street. And I've had students myself in my different roles for at least 8 of those 10 years. And a couple of years ago, actually developed a whole internal program for development and training for our students within State Street. So excited to be a part of this organization and to continue to support it in every way that I can. Now, much more importantly, I'm excited to get to know the young people who came to share their experiences with us today. We've had a lot of interesting approaches to how we handle the pandemic, and the kids are creative, and they step in and they're using their passion to make things more interesting and to make things work for us. And so I'm excited to introduce our panelists, and we'll just go one at a time to have them talk a little bit about themselves. So the first one is Zareli De La Rosa from Boston Arts Academy. And this summer, she did a Bloomberg Arts internship and Community Music Center of Boston. Zareli, take it away.
Hi, my name is Zareli De La Rosa. I am as you can see, a senior vocal major at the Boston Arts Academy. And I'm also the vice president for the student government, just want to say. As was mentioned, I worked at the Community Music Center of Boston. Actually one of my favorite internships that I've ever done. And yeah, a cute little like fun fact. I am obsessed, like extremely obsessed with Halloween and Christmas and all things music. So it was really cool to be able to bring music into something like completely different than what I'm used to. Where I'm used to performing arts, like performing music, being on stage, it was really cool to step back and kind of see other people perform and what it's like to be backstage in like a community music center. Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it.
Very cool. Thank you, Zareli. We appreciate you sharing. And we're going to go right on to Can Pham from Boston Latin Academy. And Can spent the summer at Mass General Hospital. Tell us about it.
So my name is Con Pham. I'm a sophomore at Boston Latin Academy, and I am a former intern at Mass General Hospital Youth Scholars. And there I spent my time just participating in in calls that involved doctors and surgeons and many other people who have careers in the medical field. And it wasn't only doctors or nurses, there were also interpreters and also other people who had jobs that I didn't even know existed. And I also in the MG Youth Scholars program, I also participated in the Harvard Med Science program, and there I experienced what it's like to be a doctor through the medical cases that we had to solve, and it was really, really fun.
Sounds pretty impressive to be able to experience what it's like to be a doctor. Very, very cool. Next, I'm excited to introduce Jeremy Canella from Steerborn STEM Academy. And Jeremy spent his summer at John Hancock. Tell us about it.
Hello, everyone. As she mentioned, my name is Jeremy. So I spent my summer over at John Hancock, and I was part of the digital engineering department. One of the things that I helped there do was we worked on a team project with a couple other MLK scholars there. And the team project which was oriented around ways that we can get John Hancock to help the community, specifically involving the coronavirus and how John Hancock can help maybe businesses or the community around there. One of my daily jobs was to analyze charts and create flowcharts based around there. And then one of the things that I kind of did was I hopped into meetings and I kind of advised and gave feedback on some of the websites that they were creating. It was pretty fun.
Sounds like a fun summer. Our next student is Jenna Yusuf from John D. O'Brien. And Jenna spent the summer at Vertex Pharmaceuticals.
Hello, my name is Jinathan Yusuf, and I went to John D. O'Brien High School, and I graduated this year in 2020. And currently I attend the University of Massachusetts, Boston. And So throughout my high school years, I have attended many programs which has to do with medical and pharmaceutical. And then I attended Vertex Pharmaceuticals where I did internships. And from there, I learned that I want to be in the medical field, but more of in the research side than patient care. And I worked at Vertex for the past 3 summers, and yeah, Vertex has led me to my career, to my college major, which is biochemistry. So I want to pursue my career as a scientist in a long-term goal. But for now, I love working in a lab, and that's pretty much it about me.
Very cool. I spent some summers working in a lab myself before I was bitten by the acting bug and ran off to do that. Our final student on the panel is Tina Fan from Boston Latin High School, Boston Latin School, sorry, I'm adding words in. And Tina spent the summer at Square Tech Computer Repair and Training Center.
Hi, so my name is Tina Fan. I'm a senior at Boston Latin School. This summer, I worked at Castle Square Tenants Organization, and I was a media makers intern. And over the summer, we had a lot of workshops about social justice issues in the world. And from those workshops, we would create different types of media, from slideshows to our own artwork. As you can see in the center of my slide, there's a picture of a piece I made. And we just made those pieces about social justice issues we felt passionate about.
Very cool. Like I said, these kids are teaching us to be creative and giving us better ways to approach the world. I have a few questions for you, and I think I'd like to start with Zarelli. Can you tell me what were the top 2 or 3 things that you learned in your summer internship?
Yeah, sure. So first off, I learned how to create a website for the second time. It was really cool. It was No, I'm sorry. It was just really cool to like learn how to do a website from scratch, or using Google.
Mhm.
And
And did you
then,
create something for the internship itself, or did you create a personal website?
so the first time I ever made a website was for myself.
Mhm,
And then the second one, it was really cool to do it for an organization
mhm.
and be able to be given their theme colors, and try to match a website that would look like them, um, with all their information, all pictures of their kids and stuff. It was amazing.
Cool. Very
Um, yeah. And then another thing that I thought was like really cool to learn was probably just being able to speak up more and talk to adults, because I have this thing where I am afraid to speak to other adults about like when I'm struggling with things. So it was really cool to be part of a team that treated me as a coworker, not just a 17-year-old doing like small work for them. Um, yeah, it helped me a lot with being able to speak publicly, which is how I am able to speak to you now.
well, fantastic. You're doing a great job. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Next, I'm going to jump over to Khan. Can you answer the same question? Top 2 things that you learned this summer.
So this summer I learned a lot of things, and one of the top things that I learned is what it meant to pursue a career. Because at first I just thought that to like when you grow up you're supposed to have a job. So before this program, I was just interested in the medical field because it felt more like a safe option other than more like a safe option, and that's about it. Because everyone around me, they only glorify about how great the medical field is and all that stuff. And so I just decided that I wanted to be in the medical field, and just for that reason. But now that I've learned what it meant to pursue a career, I think that pursuing a career is more like doing something you like to do, and because it's a lifelong journey, and it's just not it's just not only a way to earn money. And the second thing that I learned is how to effectively work with others and initiate conversations I'm because I'm just not very active most of like in conversation. So I just wait for another person to start the conversation, and then I just react to them kinda. But now I know how to step out of my comfort zone and do those things.
It's fantastic. And I have to tell you that the advice that you got on the difference between a career and a job is amazing. And it's something that I think a lot of people don't learn until they're well into their adult lives. And so for you to have that insight so early, it's really going to help you to choose your path, and a path that will lead to your happiness. And I think that's really important. Well done. Well done. Jeremy, we'll jump to you. What was the biggest challenge in your virtual internship, and how did you overcome it?
Well, the biggest challenge for me definitely had to be technology issues. I had a lot of them. So I got my laptop. I had my first laptop and it broke down. So luckily, John Hancock's really fast. So they sent me another one like literally the next day, which was great. But then that one broke down as well. And I had to head down to their offices and I tried to get it fixed. And it took a couple of days. I got it fixed. It was working fine. And then like towards the end of the internship, it just broke down again. Like it was horrible how many times the laptops were breaking down. But other than that, that was probably the biggest challenge, I would say.
So what did you do when your laptop wasn't working? Were there other things that you could do during that time?
Well, not really. I would usually email my boss,
Mhm.
and I tell him, "Hey, my laptop's broken," or I'd email Shelby, which is she's one of the supervisors over there. She was really helpful. I'd let them know that my laptop wasn't working, and they usually would send me the stuff that I had to work on to my personal laptop, so I could try and do the work on my personal laptop.
Okay. All right. So you had a summer of creative solutions. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
Gina, same question for you. What was your biggest challenge this summer, and how did you overcome it?
For me, one of the biggest challenge was sitting down in front of the laptop for 8 hours and just work through communication and collaboration. The main part was the communication, and it was a challenge because I'm a person who likes to walk around and do like physically like lab work. That has always been my thing, and also the environment matters to me the most. This is like because sitting at a home and doing the work, you're gonna feel like, oh, it's home. But like when you're in a work environment, you feel the motivation to work because you see other working around you. but um but we all faced that challenge and then forgot what was around us and did our work.
Yeah, I think we all had to learn how to face that challenge this year. I've always been a person who gets up and walks around, right? I'll have a meeting and then I'll go and I'll meet somebody at their desk, and I'll do walking meetings and that kinds of thing. So I'm the same as you. I don't like sitting in one place all day long, but I think we've gotten used to it, maybe too used to it. We'll see. Did you have any creative solutions for how you dealt with that so that you didn't have to sit at the desk all day long, or did you just sort of sit in it and get used to it?
Actually, the company I work for, Vertex, made it possible for me because they would send packages every week. So like lab equipments every week, so that we're working on our table at home. We're doing lab experiments, and even we got to wear lab coats. Everything. If you're in a lab, you would do goggles, this and everything, so that we feel like we're at a lab, and then we're communicating with a partner through computer, and it never felt like we're actually at home. It was so productive. So actually the company solved it for us rather than us
That's
doing so.
fantastic. I love that. I think I would have loved coming out and seeing my daughter, with a lab coat and the goggles on and doing science experiments on the table. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I see my first question in the chat, and I want to encourage all of you, if you have questions for the panelists, to please feel free to post them in the chat, and I'll try to get to them as quickly as possible. So this says, question for any of the panelists, and I'm going to call Tina for this one. what is one new thing that you learned that you'll take away from this summer?
This summer for my internship, we worked heavily with Photoshop. So we learned a lot about photo editing and how to use different programs to create artworks. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things I'll take away, especially for me, because I hope to work in marketing or advertising later in the future. That's a skill that I hopefully will be able to use in my future career.
That's a great answer. Absolutely. And I think in this media age, being able to manage digital images is a really important skill. Zarelli, same question. Something that you learned this summer that you'll take away.
Something that I learned this summer that I would take away would probably be I think more of the communicating skills that I learned. It was absolutely amazing to be able to be on a team. Like I'm just gonna repeat myself. It was amazing to work on a team that truly cared about how I was contributing. And I feel like, oh, let me add something that I learned. I'm so sorry. That I learned that I was given to do for work was the racist history in some American music. It brought a lot of insight on what songs I thought were okay to have in my mind. And they're not because of their racist backgrounds. And it does bring a whole bunch of like more insight and more information that I want to look for whenever I bring a new piece that I want to sing to the table, especially during my school's concerts and performances like Winterfest. We are doing find our own music to be able to perform as a group. And it's the choices for me when I'm looking for music a lot easier to find. I want to make sure that we put our best foot forward, and I can't thank my job like any more than I can now.
So I love that answer, and I think that leads really nicely into the next question that we had on the list. And for this one, I'm going to call on Gina. What was the most interesting project that you worked on this summer?
Oh, I worked on many, not many, I would say three best interesting project. One of my favorite was to work on a pitch project. It was to come up with an idea to improve the internship that we were in for the future interns. If it was still online, if it was still virtual, or if it was in person. So I think it was one of the best projects, especially because of the collaboration and communication that I had with our team. And I've always been a person who's like a follower rather than a leader. And this year I got to be the leader. I got to feel I felt more. It was more like the virtual setting made me realize that I can be a leader if I want to, and it kind of gave me the courage to speak up for my ideas, to what I have to say. So that was one of the best part.
Fantastic. Jeremy, same question. What was your favorite project from this summer?
My favorite project most likely had to be analyzing the data and creating a flowchart, because most of the time I would get to meet with the actual designers that were working at John Hancock, and I get real feedback from them. So that feedback really helped me improve my design, and I learned a lot of new skills from them because I got to meet a couple of them and I really learned a lot from them. Also, like another project that we had was a team project, and I really enjoyed working with my team. I feel like we did awesome. So yeah.
Sounds like a lot of love for group projects and collaboration this summer, and that's really exciting to hear. Because as you move into the college experience and into the workspace, you're going to find a lot more opportunities to work with people, and people who are good at collaboration are more successful. So that's excellent to hear. Khan, I want to jump to you, and so the question I have for you is, what are the next steps that you plan to take in order to pursue a career in the STEM field?
A few steps. I would like to pursue a career in the STEM field, but I don't know which one yet. So I think that it's obviously gonna be college, and probably I would probably go to a community college first because after this summer I've learned that if you're not very conclusive about what you want to do, community college is a great option for you to just experience things and not have to pay a great amount of money for it. And then when I know what I want, what I really, really enjoy doing, I'll just take it from there.
I think that's a great plan. College is a great space to be able to explore different things and figure out what you want to do next and how to get to your desired destination. So I think that's an excellent plan. Tina, I'm going to ask you the same question. What steps do you plan to take to prepare for a career in the STEAM field?
Similar to Khan, definitely going to college and trying to get my degree in somewhere within the marketing or advertising realm. And then I was also very lucky. So the area I worked or the company I worked for in the summer, I have an opportunity to work for them again in the spring. So that's something I will be doing, and hopefully that'll help me gain more skills to work in the STEM field.
Oh, I should unmute myself before I speak. Excellent. So again, same question, Zarelli. Any different steps that you think that you might take, or what you might do to prepare for a career in STEM? Or we can pivot to another question I'm seeing in the chat, and that is, how do you think you can transfer the skills that you learn in STEM to another profession?
Before I start, can you repeat the second question for me?
Sure. And so it's just thinking about how can you apply the skills you learn in STEM to a different career?
Sure.
Mhm.
So, through the years of me learning what STEAM is, um, I feel like all the skills that I used, such as, my basic skill now is technology. Um, I feel like any career that I want to do after I graduate would 100% have a lot to do with technology. Um, I have a couple ideas on where I want to go after high school. Um, I want to stay as much as I can in STEAM, whether that's still doing music or that's any other thing in the medical field, which I am also very in love with. Um, all the skills that I learned through the years, like from like kindergarten, doing like little math stuff to up until now where I dissected some stuff and I found that to be like grossly weird but cool. Um, I feel like it would be really amazing to be able to bring all that into a career that I'd be super happy with.
Sounds like you've got fun plans ahead. I'm looking forward to see how where you go with it. My next question is for all of the panelists, and so we'll go down the line one at a time, and we'll start with Khan. So that question is, what was the best thing about your internship this summer?
I think that the best thing about my internship this summer was actually being able to like talk to surgeons and doctors about what their experience on their field is and why they're doing what they're doing. And I think that's like the most important thing, because I think that when you go into a career, many people don't know why they're doing what they're doing. So that's why and then it just gets really sad, because why would you do something that you don't know the purpose of? So I think that from the many nurses that we've talked to, I think that um, yeah, that's like the best thing ever, since sometimes I just don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and they just give me like a reason why, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that speaks, volumes to the value of the PIC program, the ability to go and speak to people who are doing what you think you want to do, and then make a decision based on the information they can provide you from their own personal experience. And I think that's very insightful. Very nice, very nice. All right, Zarelli, favorite thing about this summer?
My favorite thing would have to be seeing what the website looks like um, now that I'm not part of the internship anymore. Um, it's gorgeous. And I also love how I still have friends over from my internship and from the CMCB staff that I really hope are like long time friendships.
That's fantastic. We definitely build relationships during these experiences that can last a lifetime, and so I definitely hope that yours do. All right, Jeremy, first favorite thing about the summer?
Um, I'd say there's a lot of things, but one thing that stuck out was definitely the community. At John Hancock, there's a lot of diverse people with diverse backgrounds, and getting to meet a lot of people, a lot of MLK, a lot of scholars that were coming in from like different schools. It taught me a lot of different things, and also being able to talk with some of the people that work there and learn what they do throughout their day, kind of like job shadow them throughout their day, was definitely awesome. I feel like the community at John Hancock's very good. And that's one of the things that I definitely loved.
So that's huge. The idea that you walk away from a summer where you're having all kinds of new experiences, and what sticks with you is the community. And that's a really powerful statement on the community at John Hancock and the work that they did to add value for you and to make this a positive experience. So that's really wonderful to hear. All right, Tina, we'll move to you. Your favorite part about the summer?
This summer, I was able to meet a lot of different people, and I think it was really amazing just because for my internship, we had 20 interns. So I was able to meet so many cool people in my age group and even my bosses. And the one good thing about Zoom is that it takes away a lot of the pressure from being face to face and interacting. So I'm not the most extroverted person, so it was really nice to have people to talk to, but like have it be over Zoom, and it wasn't too much pressure to interact, but we were still able to connect. And I still talk to some of the people in my internship today and connect with them over social media.
That's fantastic to hear. I definitely have noticed that a lot of people who identify as introverts and who are less comfortable with social interaction are thriving in this environment where Zoom allows them to interact and to speak with people without the social pressures of the physical presence. And so I'm seeing that, and I'm glad that you are getting to experience that benefit. Finally, Gina, what was your favorite part about this summer?
I have so many favorite part and I want to share all of them. So we had like 3 to 4 disease panels with the people who are working on the diseases to find the cure for the diseases and working on Vertex. Um, so I'm always curious about when it comes to, diseases, curing. And I was like one of the number one students in there to like go and ask questions that are complicated to them, and they'll get surprised by the question. They'll be like, come join our team, things like that. And also my favorite part was also the labs has always been my favorite, and then as well as networking with people. even though Vertex has taught me for the last 3 years how much networking with people is important, especially within the companies and outside the company, so that you can make the connection and build in the future. But I get to learn the actual importance for it this year, because I learned how easy it is to connect with people. Like, you don't need to talk to them in person to make a connection. You can just send them an email and tell them you're interested in the field they're working in, and your future is ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really insightful. That's really insightful. Thank you. All right, I've got one more question for the entire panel, and that is, what advice do you have for us? And we're going to start with Khan on this one again. What advice do you have for the managers and for the companies who are bringing students in this summer, so that we can continue to do a great job and improve what we are doing to provide these great summers for you? Khan, please start.
I think that an advice that I'd give is, this is hard because I think the program that I had was really good, but I think that an advice that I'd give is to probably expand more, like include more programs on other fields besides STEM. So I don't know what that could be because there are so many fields, but I think that there are so many other people who are not interested in STEAM, and maybe they would want something other than, I don't know. I think that students should be taught on how many careers there are,
Mhm.
and that it's not so narrow and they're not forced to do something that
Okay.
they want to.
I'll read it back to you. This is a great start. Keep going, keep expanding. We can do more. Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, got it. All right, Zarelli, you're next. What advice do you have for us?
My top advice that I can think of is, I wrote it down, that students have good ideas too. And sometimes they could surprise you, like what Gina was saying. Her being invited into their team, amazing. It's really memorable to students slash young adults when they are included in talks with other staff members. It's it changes something in them that makes them feel that their voice is equally as important as the next person in the Zoom call. Um, yeah, just keep including your interns into whatever work you put out. I trust me, it makes the whole internship experience 20 times better.
I love that. I love that. All right. We're going to do a better job of making sure that we are providing opportunities for you to use your voice and to be heard, and that we are listening to you. Thank you. That is excellent advice. Next, Jeremy.
There's a lot of great things at John Hancock. I couldn't think of anything that I would advise them on. I would say the only thing would maybe, and I don't think it was their fault, I just think it was the coronavirus and us being in a pandemic in general, like just technology and reaching out to students to see how technology is it going well. I would say it's pretty much that.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that's a challenge that we all face, really making sure that the technology is working and making sure that we're communicating so that we know when there are challenges. That's good advice. Thank you. Tina, advice for us?
I would say just have a lot of community building time. For CSTO, we had like set times a week where we would just socialize with each other or do specific activities together. And I think that's really important because over Zoom, we aren't in person. So we don't see each other's individual tics or niches to show our personality. So by having a specific time to just bond with each other, it helps build a really good working community.
I like it. All right. So we need to make sure that we're making space for community. I think I agree. That's very important. Thank you. All right. And then finally, Gina, advice that you have for us.
Again, as Khan said, it's very hard to find one of the advices to give you guys because it was very like everything that was done for us, for me, for the interns. It was like you could see the effort that's put in there. Um, but I would say it's again no one's fault. It's socializing, like having more social times. And so with the internship I worked at, um, there were a group of people who I knew, and there were some of the group of people who I didn't know, because there was not enough time with all to spend with all the people. So I would say, um, like in this pandemic, it is important to know and communicate with people so that our communication skills are better. And another advice would be very specific. That would be more like if a student is working in a company that the student is interested in for a future career, um, one of the department, like the student could talk to a person from a department in that company, to learn more about their career, to learn what they're doing daily to daily, to see if we are interested in it. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Oh, that's fantastic advice, right? We're bringing you in and trying to share things with you and help you to learn things and give you opportunities. But it's also important for us to make sure that if you are interested in that particular area, that we give you exposure to that area, and that we, clarify what paths you might take to be able to get to that specific space. And so I think that's really good feedback for us, and we absolutely need to take that and continue to grow in that area. So we are at the end of the time for our panel. Most unfortunately, it has absolutely been my pleasure to talk with all of you and to learn about your summer experiences. You all did such an amazing job sharing with us and really helping us to understand what you did and what you learned, and what the advice and feedback that you have for us is really insightful, and so we're grateful for that, and we promise to take that forward and see what we can do about continuing to grow for you and for the students who come after you. So again,
Mhm.
Khan, Zarelli, Jeremy, Tina, and Gina, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us today. And I look forward to seeing great things from all of you. And I will
Thank
pass it
you.
back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Great job. Stick around, team. Stick around. Great job, Naeemah. And your voices, all of you students, were heard. I guarantee you, you've been heard. I wanted to give Secretary Pizer just a moment to offer any reflections or ask any questions he might have of you.
Well, I mean, first thing, I obviously want to thank you for letting me sit in and listen to all your stories and insights and feedback. One of the key takeaways is that you actually had a positive experience. I mean, there was a risk going into this that this was going to be all kind of a disaster, and it sounds like it wasn't. In fact, quite the opposite. I was especially I don't want to say surprised, but heartened to hear that even though it was virtual, even though it was over Zoom, you were able to build relationships with peers, your mentors and your colleagues at your employer sites. That could very easily have been really the weakest part of the whole experience. And yet, I think in part, probably because of the thoughtfulness of the employers and maybe some of the things they did to try to make sure that you were feeling like part of the team, but also because of your own ability to step up and communicate, under these sort of difficult and unusual circumstances is a tribute to them and a tribute to you, because, I think the kinds of experiences are as much about the relationship building and the communications and the insight you get from being near someone and communicating with someone, that it was easy for that to be lost in this context. And it's quite clear that wasn't, which is, equally encouraging, if not more encouraging, for where we go from here. Obviously, we're hoping the pandemic will be over, sooner the better, and we can get back to something that looks like normal life. But normal that we are going to experience a year from now is going to be different than the normal from a year ago. And these kinds of work experiences, these kinds of interactions that we're having right now, are likely to be a much bigger part of the normal work experience and this, frankly, the normal life experience than they have been in the past. So on the one hand, your ability to navigate this effectively in different contexts is going to be of value and worth to you, not just right now, but going forward in the future indefinitely. But equally important, especially for these kinds of experiences, and I think this was mentioned earlier, maybe it was you, Neil, Lieutenant Governor, I think this really opens the door to greater access, more students, to more, for having access to more employers, and for more than just the sort of 6 weeks, 2 months over the course of the summer. I think this technology, this experience, these sort of models for how to create meaningful internships, I think means that we can really start thinking about how do we do this year round? How do we give students these kinds of opportunities that are not just sort of something to do when school's not in session, but something or an integral part of what the educational experience is like. So anyway, I mean, this is a very hopeful experience listening to you all today. I'm really interested in learning more as we get further into this about how we can take these lessons learned and apply them to more students, to more schools, to more employers, and more year round. Thank you all.
Thank you, Secretary Pizer. I heard from several of the students, the most valuable career advice I've ever heard, which is twofold. Whatever you do, you want to find something that you're really good at, and you want to find something you really like doing, because 40 hours a week for 40 plus years can be a drag unless you love what you're doing. And the happiest adults you'll meet, and I can hear that you met many of them virtually over the summer, they're doing something that they really enjoy doing. And I also heard that you're all looking to bring meaning to your life and an impact on society in the work you do. And that's powerful. That's very powerful, particularly given the times that we're living in right now, as we're trying to correct many of the bad things that have been part of society for a long time. And in another event earlier today, the head of a big bank, JP Morgan Chase, announced that Boston would be one of 5 cities where they would invest in career pathways so that your curriculum and your work experiences would all come together, and it would all be part of the big project of building your career. So I think it is wicked cool that you've been pioneers in this virtual field, because as Secretary Pizer mentioned, this is not a temporary thing. We're all hybrid from here on out, for sure. So you are experts in the field already. So we're going to close by seeing if we can demonstrate some Zoom skills, some surprise videos from a couple of supervisors. But I do want to acknowledge that Dr. Melanie Knowlton, the director of the Vertex STEM Lab, has been with us throughout, as well as Annie Duong Turner from the John Hancock Company, Jeremy, who head of the MLK Scholars Program, has also been with us. So thank you to them. And let's take a shot at these videos. Let's see if we can bring it home this way.
Hi, everyone. My name is Morgan Beckford, and I'm the Chief Programming Officer at the Community Music Center of Boston. CMCB is a nonprofit organization that serves the community by providing transformative and high-quality arts experiences to all. We serve over 5,000 people a year with our programming in our South End site, in Boston Public Schools and other school districts, in community centers, and in hospitals all over the greater Boston area, and we have programming online too. CMCB hosted 4 different Bloomberg Arts interns this summer, and each intern focused on one administrative area: operations, advancement, accessibility, or programs. After getting to know the students, we matched each one with a focused area that seemed to be the best fit for their skill set. Zarelli's a singer, and her desire to explore career opportunities beyond vocal performance made her a great match for the program's team, because lots of us went to school for music and performance degrees too. Although Zarelli's work was concentrated in our department, she had opportunities to collaborate with the other 3 interns for special projects, presentations, and for weekly meetings. CMCB was so grateful to have the Bloomberg Arts interns this summer in particular because they were really helpful for us in adapting to online programming. CMCB began hosting online lessons for the first time in mid-March, and we had a pretty big learning curve. Although Zarelli worked on a couple of projects, her main project was to design and build a student engagement website for the CMCB community, with the two primary purposes of, one, helping our student, faculty, and staff communities stay connected in this wild time, and two, providing more opportunities for students in our community to share joys and achievements in a centralized place. Zarelli built multiple versions of this site, collaborated with our marketing and communications coordinator to ensure branding was consistent, and met with members of the community to ensure that the site had all of the features it needed. We are so happy to have launched our community music school online site at the beginning of October, which could not have been possible without Zarelli's awesome work. Thank you to the students. Thank you, Zarelli in particular. Thank you, Bloomberg Arts. Thank you, Advestors. Thank you, PIC. Thank you, everybody, for providing arts organizations in Boston with the awesome opportunity to work with these young people. And we hope to see you again soon. Bye.
Hi there, my name is Madeline Muehlberg, and I am the Team Program and Youth Development Manager at Castle Square Tenants Organization.
And I'm Amanda, I'm the Multimedia Arts Coordinator here at CSTO.
Castle Square is an affordable housing neighborhood located in the South End, and CSTO is the tenants organization founded in order to protect and preserve this affordable housing. Over the past 30 years, CSTO has grown to be able to offer educational empowerment programs like our K through 8th grade program, Square Roots, our adults, seniors, and family program, our Square Tech social enterprise, and 2 technology-based programs that teens can enter through paid internships, which are the Media Makers program and the Square Tech training programs.
So the Media Makers program is a media production internship that is aimed to amplify youth voices through empowering them to create meaningful digital art around social issues that they care about, while also simultaneously helping them grow as young professionals in the workforce. So this past summer, Media Makers hired 20 interns in total, 16 of which were funded by CSTO and 4 were funded through PIC. So they completed really cool projects such as an anti-racism merch design line, where these interns created unique fashion prototypes with anti-racism messaging. Another project they worked on was a digital portrait illustration of community change makers. So they researched local artists who they felt like were utilizing their platform for social change, and then created a digital portrait illustration using Adobe Photoshop to honor that artist, as well as their role within social movements such as the Civil Rights Movement and Black Lives Matter. We also hosted PIC Extra Hours, where PIC interns learned how to do basic web design through multiple projects that culminated into redesigning our teen program project website. During this project, Tina took initiative as the lead in the group and designed the overall workshops page. Interns used this design and incorporated her aesthetic into their pages so that we could create a cohesive website. So Tina was a wonderful intern to work with. She is a strong leader who is extremely hardworking, creative, and empathetic. She was able to bridge the community between herself and her peers despite being virtual all summer long. Tina definitely brought the fun and the energy into our virtual workshops while also developing her skills in Photoshop tremendously throughout her time with us in our cycle.
In addition, we wanted to highlight the Square Tech training program, which this past cycle hired 16 funded interns and 7 PIC funded interns that came together for the Square Tech Intro to Tech program. This program teaches students exciting skills such as PC hardware, business, game design, and makey-makey. Interns completed projects such as a virtual escape room and learned how to use makey-makey to create interactive technology projects.
So this summer in 2020 was definitely unlike any other we've had before. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, all of our programming was moved to an online virtual platform. So this definitely created unique challenges for both the youth as well as program staff, but ultimately CSTO is dedicated to creating both access to youth jobs and technology. So this past summer, we have held our commitment through hiring over 40 young people and providing brand new Dell laptops to each intern in the Media Makers program, as well as the Square Tech training program.
Hi
everyone. My name is Meg Driscoll, and I'm the STEAM Education Specialist at Vertex Pharmaceuticals. Vertex Pharmaceuticals is a global biotechnology company that invests in scientific innovation to create transformative medicine for people with serious diseases. I coordinate and support programming for our Boston Learning Lab, where we work with local students to inspire scientific inquiry and provide ways to pursue opportunities in STEM. One of my key responsibilities, and not to mention one of my favorites, includes planning and managing our high school internship program. When we decided to transition this past summer's internship from in-person to online, we wanted to ensure that our key components would remain the same, including building student STEM skills, providing enrichment experiences, and professional development opportunities. Our program consisted of at-home lab activities, career panels with Vertex scientists, a week with the Boston Debate League so our interns could debate all on the ethics of gene editing. It also included working with the Huntington Theater, ICA, and Isabella Stewart Gardner Museums to discover the intersection between art and science, as well as a mentorship program, Q&A sessions with local and internal senior leaders. Jinatin Yusuf is an incredible individual and young professional who has contributed and impacted our program immensely. This was Jinatin's third summer with us, having been invited back this summer and last summer. She has been a fantastic addition to our cohort, not only over the last few summers, but specifically this summer. She has produced excellent work, giving thoughtful perspective and inspired innovative ideas, and has grown into a trusted near peer and mentor for her fellow interns. She has also been a trusted source of feedback for us. We have seen Jinatin's confidence and leadership skills grow amazingly, and we cannot wait to see what she continues to accomplish in the future. We're thrilled to have her represent our program today. Hi, everyone.
All right, so that's the close of our program. We want to thank all the school leaders, employers, workplace supervisors who joined us. Thank you, Naeemah, for an excellent moderation. And thank you, Secretary Pizer, who actually visited Castle Square on site in the summer of 2019. So he and the Lieutenant Governor have experienced both the on-site and the virtual program. So hybrid for all, hybrid forever. Thank you all for joining us. And thank you to all the PIC career specialists who matched the students with these programs. Your work is essential and not always recognized. So salute.